Yeah, good morning, one and all. Warm welcome to session 3 of today's program. Before starting that, I would like to give some information regarding tomorrow's program. Tomorrow's session will be taken care by Professor Suryanarayan as a resource person. He would like to share some of the material to discuss about you tomorrow morning, and case study method is going to be taken regarding attitude and personality. Please make a note of it. I will share all the information in your WhatsApp group, so that please download it and prepare for tomorrow's session. Thank you, one and all. Now session will be going to taken care by Jyoti. Please, Jyoti, carry on.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, all. Welcome to Day 1, Session 3, Atal Faculty Development Program on Organizational Learning. The session will be on organizational learning. I would now like to introduce Professor M. Yadagiri Garu. He is the Dean Faculty of Commerce and Business Management, Telangana University. Sir has around 3 decades of teaching experience. His area of specialization is accounting and finance. 6 doctoral degrees are awarded under his guidance. More than 70 research papers published in both national and international journals. Published 47 books to his credit. Sir is even editor and a member of editorial board in many journals. Sir is a member of a NAAC peer team to assess and accredit higher education institutions. Now I request Sir to address the participants. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti.
Thank you, sir.
I think the audio and video are clear.
Yes, sir.
Right. The Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gopal Reddy Garu, the Registrar, Professor Vishnu Dev Garu, Director of Faculty Development Program and Principal of University College of Commerce and Management, Dr. Sri Lakshmi Garu, then Coordinator, Faculty Development Program, Dr. Alwala Ravi Garu, Dr. Ramesh Kumar Miryala, Dr. Venkatramana Reddy, and all other faculty members of Business Management, Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda, and all the learned colleagues or participants. A very good afternoon, all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
At the outset, I congratulate Dr. Ravi Alwala for organizing this 5-day faculty development program on organizational behavior. I am very happy to meet the intellectual group through this online faculty development program. I feel it is a challenging task to me to retain your attention in this afternoon session. However, I will try at my level best to attract all of you. I once again thankful to the Dr. Alwala Ravi, who has given a topic to me. It is most relevant and very, very significant in day-to-day life of every individual as well as every organization. That is the organizational learning. I feel right. I feel it is a very relevant topic to know something about the learning and organizational learning. As you know, The teaching is a mother of all other professions. In the same way, I feel learning is a mother of all fields of knowledge. Whether it is a service organization or manufacturing organization or agricultural sector or educational sector, whatever may be, the learning is essential to upgrade ourselves and as well as to upgrade the organizational activities. We will start this session with a quotation given by the great personality, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The life of Abdul Kalam is a live example to understand the significance of learning. Only through learning and acquiring the knowledge, he reached a top position in the country and he recognized as one of the greatest personality in the world. In his words, learning gives creativity. Creativity leads thinking. Thinking provides knowledge. Knowledge makes you great. It is an excellent and very relevant and appropriate quotation given by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Here, learning gives creativity. If you go on to learn in our day-to-day life, so that gives a creativity in the minds of the people. When you have such a type of a creativity that leads to thinking in an innovative manner, when you have think about a particular issue that provides a knowledge about that issue, by having that knowledge, so automatically each and every person is to be recognized as a great intellectual. So in overall, the life of the Abdul Kalam is a live example to understand the significance or importance of the learning in our day-to-day life. He born in a poor family. He has educated only from the government institutions. But just because of learning, he acquired different types of knowledge and he reached a top level position. So this can be applicable to every business organization also. If the organization wants to run the business in a long run, certainly, so the organization has to learn the new things. Unless to learn the new things, unless to adopt the changes which can be occurred in our day-to-day life, the organization cannot survive. It cannot run the business activities in a long period. That's why, whether it is individual or organization, the learning is a essential activity. So that here we can conclude that learning gives creativity. Creativity leads the thinking in different types. When you think differently, so that way of your thinking provides a perfect knowledge about that particular aspect. Then by having the more and more knowledge about that aspect, so you can be recognized as a great person. Similarly, if you come to the another quotation given by the Abdul Kalam again, when learning is purposeful, creativity blossoms. When creativity blossoms, thinking emanates. When thinking emanates, knowledge is fully lit. When knowledge is lit, the economy flourishes. Here you can change, instead of this economy, the organization can flourish, the individual can flourish. So like that here, when you learn the new things with a particular purpose, because your learning should be a purposeful, so that provides that creativity blossoms. That means the creativity will grow in your mind. The creativity will flourish in the mind. When creativity is flourish or blossoms, then thinking emanates. Thinking emanates means your thinking is spread out. We have to think in a broader manner. When thinking emanates, the knowledge is fully lit. That knowledge will give a light to your life. It gives the shining to the life. When knowledge is giving a light or a lit, so automatically the individual or a business organization, or in broader sense, the economy flourishes. Here, we should know a Chinese proverb. The Chinese proverb is here, learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. It's a very good proverb. So learning is a treasure. Whenever you go, wherever you go, so it is follow with you. That means when you have a perfect knowledge, you can deliver goods or things or your services in an effective and perfect manner wherever you go. So that it is the appropriate time to recollect this Chinese proverb, that is, the learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. If you have a conceptual knowledge, so wherever you go, you can be considered as an intellectual personality. So the recognition of the individual, the identity of the organization comes out of the knowledge, the way of thinking, the way of creativity. That's why, so it is essential to all of us to learn the things, to know the new things. Then only we can update ourselves. Then if we are updated, then we can deliver the goods in a perfect manner to our student community, or as well as a business organization, being a manager of the organization. So like that here, so we have to recollect these two quotations in this occasion of, so we are discussing about the organizational learning. Then now coming to the concept of learning. Here we have to discuss what is the learning, how it is helpful to the individual. Then after we have to discuss the organizational learning. So that here we have to differentiate individual learning as well as the organizational learning. Generally, learning is the way we create new knowledge and improve ourselves. Although there is ample debate regarding the mechanism and scope of learning, in its simplest form, this is no different for organizations. To define, organizational learning is to understand the importance of creating a learning culture with an organization. This type of learning benefits both individuals, teams, and the organization as a whole. There are positive intra-organizational benefits to this approach. So when you coming to the conceptual definition of the meaning of the learning, learning is a key process in human behavior. Every aspect human behavior is responsive to learning. It is a prerequisite for behavior. The learning is a continuous process. Learning is a process in human behavior. We go on to learn from the birth to death. So being a good human, so we have to learn from the birth to death in every moment. So every aspect of human behavior is responsive to learning. So our action or say reaction of each and every activity is a response to our learning. It is a response to our learning. Therefore, learning is a prerequisite for human behavior. Learning is the process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behaviors, skills, values, attitudes, and preferences. The learning is the process of acquiring new understanding, new knowledge, new behavior, new skills, new values, human values or organizational values. And learning is change our attitude, and learning should change our preferences. So why it is considered as a process of acquiring new understanding or new knowledge? Because in every day we have to observe there are a number of technological changes. Whatever you find today is updated, tomorrow it will become outdated. Such a type of drastic technological changes have been taking place in our day-to-day life. Unless to adopt such type of technological changes in our real life, we can't withstand in the competitive field. Whether it is an individual or it is an organization, there is a need of upgradation of the knowledge. There is a need of knowing the new things, and whatever we learned, whatever we acquired, so that should be reinforced in our day-to-day life. Reinforced means that should be applicable in our day-to-day life. Unless to reinforce whatever you acquired, there is no use of learning. So that what I am saying is here, learning is nothing but it is a continuous process of acquiring the new things, and whatever the new things acquired, it should be reinforced in your day-to-day life. Then only we will get the real benefit of the learning. And learning is defined as any relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of practice and experience. This is the definition given by the Richard E. Mayer. He is a great philosopher. In his words, so learning defined as any relatively permanent change. Once you acquired the new things or knowledge, that should be change your behavior. The changed behavior should be continue for a long period. Then only we can consider that the effective of learning. If your change is not a permanent change, there is no effectiveness of the learning. So that learning is defined any relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of practice and experience. Result and experience. Here you can say, you can identify one quotation given by Leo Buscaglia. Leo Buscaglia, in his words, change is the end result of all true learning. Change is the end result of all true learning. That means if there is no change, so there is no effectiveness of the learning. So like that, here we can understand, so the meaning or say the definition of the learning. So it is a relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of practice and experience. Then you coming to the important elements of learning. So here generally we can find there are three types of important elements of learning. One is change in behavior. Second is change that takes place through practice or experience. And third is change in behavior must be relatively permanent. So here the first element is learning is a change in behavior that is better or worse. So here the change, whether it is a positive change or negative change, but there should be some change. That is the first element of the learning. Here second one is it is a change that takes place through practice or experience. The change should come only from the practice or experience. But changes due to growth or maturation are not learning. This we have to differentiate this difference here. What I am saying is change takes place through practice or experience. That is effectiveness of the learning. But the change due to the growth by passing of the years, by passing of the period and maturation of say period, if the change is occurred, it is not the impact of learning. The impact of learning should be only change come out through the practice or experience. If the same change is occurred due to growth and maturation, so it is not the effectiveness of learning. So this change in behavior must be relatively permanent and it must last a fairly long time. The change should continue for a long period. Here we have to recollect one quotation given by Henry Ford. In his words, anyone keeps learning, stay young. It's a very good quotation given by Henry Ford. Anyone keeps learning, stay young. Anyone keeps learning, he look like a young. That youngness is not in the form of age or say physical structure. The youngness is the mental structure. Anyone keeps learning, so he is mentally considered as a young person. That's why all our teacher fraternity is always looking like a young, because the teacher is a continuous learner. The teacher acquires the new knowledge in every day to deliver the same knowledge in an effective manner to the students community. That's why anyone keeps learning, stay young, right? So that here these are the three important elements of learning. Now coming to the organizational learning. So up to here we observed that what is the learning and what is the importance of learning. Now we are coming to the actual topic, that is the organizational learning. So here organizational learning is different from the individual learning. So individual learning is the learning process continued by the single person or say individual. But organizational learning is a learning which is undertaken by the organization. You know what is the organization? Organization is a group of people who gathered together for the purpose of to attain the common goal or common objectivity. Organization is a combination of the people who gather together to attain a common goal or a common activity. So organizational learning refers the learning which is undertaken by the organization. That means the learning which is continued by all the group of people who are working in the organization. So here, organizational learning is a buzzword used to describe the process of transferring knowledge within an organization. So through individual learning, each and every employee can acquire the knowledge. But when it is considered as a organizational learning, that knowledge should transfer from one individual to another individual in the entire organization. That's why organizational learning is the process of transferring the knowledge within an organization. So transferring of the knowledge from peer to subordinate, that is superior to subordinate. The transferring of the knowledge from the bottom to top, from the top to bottom. So that here, in the organizational learning, the knowledge is transferred from the line authority to staff authority through middle level management. That's why it is the process of transferring knowledge within an organization. As organization gains experience, it should improve over time. Organization should create a broad base of knowledge covering all aspects that could improve the organizational efficiency. So, by continuation or say by practicing the organizational learning, the organization gains experience. Organization gains experience means, again, if individuals are gaining the experience, that reflect the gaining of organization. It should improve over time. That means, say here, the experience should improve in the year to year. Organization should create a broad-based knowledge covering all aspects that could improve the organizational efficiency. So you know very well about the organizational efficiency. When you called as a efficient organization, if organization is efficient in all aspects, that is, say, human resources are efficient, then financial management is efficient, then production process is efficient, then marketing process is efficient. Like that, if all aspects are improved themselves, then only it can be considered as a organizational efficiency. Therefore, we can conclude that organizational learning is a process of improving the organizational efficiency. Right? So organizational efficiency come out from the organizational learning only. So organizational learning enables organizations to transform individual knowledge into organizational knowledge, and vice versa also. So being an individual, he can acquire the knowledge from the others, from the organization. So organization also acquired the knowledge from the individuals. Say, I will give one example. If an intelligent person or a great personality working in an organization, the people says that the great person is working on that organization. It means the identity of the great individuality is adopted to the entire organization. Similarly, if an ordinary person is joined in a great organization, we can say he is working in that great organization. It means what happened? The organizational greatness is reflecting to the individual. So that here, individual's greatness reflect to the organization, and organizational efficiency reflect the individuals. So like that here, we can understand the importance of organizational learning. Now, the definition of organizational learning. So here, one important definition given by this Brown and Duguid in 1991. So in his words, say, organizational learning as the bridge between working and innovating. It is a broad-based definition. Though he is defined the organizational learning in a single word, it is a broad definition. It is a bridge between working and innovating. It means it is a bridge between the present or past, present and future. So generally, the future decisions will be taken on the basis of past and present. So the past and present is base for future decisions. If you able to analyze the past and present in a perfect manner, then only we can able to take the a bright decision or a appropriate decision or a right decision for the future. Therefore, the organizational learning is a bridge between present situation to innovative situation or say the future situation. It means here, so between this past, present and future, so we have to update ourselves. We have to update ourselves. So organizational learning is to fulfill the all requirements to run the organization so in the future in a perfect and effective manner. So organizational learning is the process by which an organization improves itself over time through gaining experience and using that experience to create knowledge. The knowledge created is then transferred within the organization. So that here we can consider that organizational learning is a product of organizational inquiry. Organizational learning is a product of organizational inquiry. It means when you deeply observing the each and every activity of the organization, so it is nothing but organizational learning. It means you are learning about the organization. That's why organizational learning is considered as a product of organizational inquiry. So organizational learning is referred to as a continuous process in an organization that boosts its ability to accept and respond to both external and internal changes. So that here it is organizational learning is referred to as a continuous process. Just now I told that why it is called as a continuous process. If you want to survive in this competitive environment, so you have to acquire the new knowledge continuously. So that here, so a man can learn from say birth to death. Like that here, organization go on to learn from the establishment stage to until to shut down the business, So like that, it is a continuous process, and that boosts its ability to accept and respond. The learning is the boosting the ability of the organization. So that means by learning, so you can take the different types of ideas, that is minimization of manufacturing cost. Through learning, you can take the different ideas, so that is profit maximization of the organization. So generally we can say the basic objectives of the business organization is minimization of the cost and maximization of the profit. Unless to minimize your cost of production, you can't maximize your profit making capacity. For that, through learning, we can know the different types of techniques. So that's why that learning process is to boost the ability of the organization. So it is respond to both external and internal change. Internal change, the changes which can be controllable by the organization. All internal changes can be controllable by the organization, but external changes beyond the control of organization. That means external changes will occur outside of the business environment. That is government policies, the social changes, environmental changes, right? These are all the external factors. So that here, your learning is respond to both the internal and external changes in every organization, right? So like that here we can understand the concept of organizational learning. Now coming to the next point is here. So steps to promote organizational learning. Steps to promote organizational learning. So there are three important steps which promote the organizational learning. One is knowledge creation. Second is knowledge retention, and third is knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer. So that here these three are the important steps to promote the organizational learning. So first thing is knowledge creation. So the first step towards learning is creating or taking in knowledge and information. If you are looking for what organizational learning is and how managers can promote it, then the answer is through knowledge creation. The managers are always on lookout to find new knowledge about customers, clients, vendors, business, products, services, and the environment. So your manager should constantly seek to uncover new knowledge about their business, customers, and environment. They can do this by conducting surveys, performing market analysis, networking with colleagues in their industry, and studying competitors. For knowledge creation, organization may take the help of networking, market analysis, and surveys to study the market and even their competitors. So knowledge creation is possible by direct exposure to the specific subject through various tasks that involve the processes, needs, and environment of the organization. So that here we can understand that knowledge creation is the first step in organizational learning. How? To run the organization for a long period or to survive the organization for a long period, so you have to create the new products. You have to create the new services. That means what we producing or what we are supplying at present, and what actually the consumers are required. Then identify the gap between the present services and products provided by the organization and what customers are required. To identify that gap. That gap can be identified by the organization through different ways, by conducting the surveys, by analyzing the market conditions, so discussing with the industry people. So like that here, knowledge creation is very, very important aspect in this organizational learning promotion. Once the knowledge is created, it is fact that during knowledge creation, implicit and explicit knowledge is reinforced once again. During the knowledge creation, the implicit and explicit knowledge is reinforced once again. Reinforced means, just now I told that whatever we acquired, it should be applied in a practical manner. Whatever you acquired through learning, it should be reinforced. So once it is created, then you have to retain that knowledge. That is a knowledge retention. So once managers have created or obtained the knowledge, they need a system for retaining it within the organization. For that, organization need an effective system for storing, recording, or merely retaining it within the confines of organization. This is done so that employees down the track can gain access to their required information easily and quickly. It means in a single word, after creation of the knowledge, that knowledge should be retained in the organization. That knowledge should be stored in the organization. Whatever the present created knowledge, it can be applicable for a future period. That's why you have to retain it. And once it is retained in the organization, so then next step is here knowledge transfer. Finally, the knowledge must be transferred from the individual community to the organizational community as a whole. Some methods for transferring knowledge are simple, like conducting training or writing articles to share online. Then some of these methods are simple and some a bit complex, but the transfer of knowledge should be happen at all costs. So here, knowledge transferred from one group of individual to another group of individual, or one section to another section within the organization. So that should be only from conducting the different types of training programs. Knowledge is transferred from one group of individuals to another group of individuals, or say manager to his subordinates, by conducting the different types of training programs, orientation programs, conferences. So like this faculty development programs, it is also one of the processes of transferring of the knowledge. So generally, our academicians are transferring the knowledge by writing the good research articles on different areas as per their expertness, right? So if a teacher is expertised in a particular field, by writing a good article in that field, he can transfer his knowledge to the others. So like that, here there are three important steps to promote organizational learning: knowledge creation, knowledge retention, and knowledge transferred. Here it is not an easy task. Though these three are the simple steps, it is not an easy task. For creation of knowledge, retention of knowledge, transfer of knowledge, there is some cost involvement. The organization should come forward to invest something for all these three steps, or say three activities. That means the organization should invest something in the organization. Here you have to recollect the quotation given by the Benjamin Franklin. He says that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. It's a very good quotation. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. We know very well, if you invest something, so tomorrow we will expect some return on your investment. If you invest today, so in a financial matters, tomorrow you will expect some sort of returns. Here also, if you invest something that is in the form of learning, so tomorrow the result is come out in the form of knowledge. That's why an investment in knowledge pays the best interest, so that learning is an investment and knowledge is the return on that investment. That knowledge is helpful to continue your organizational activities forever, right? Then coming to the next slide is here, the main actions of organizational learning. So here you can identify three important actions which are involved in the process of organizational learning. One is conceive, second is act or say action, third is reflect or reflection of the action. So these three are the main actions of organizational learning. So I can say the learning is moving between all these three actions. The process of learning is go around these three actions. The first thing is here conceive. Conceive. That means say here, so imagine or say realize. Through learning, a new idea can conceive in your mind. Through learning, a new product can conceive in your mind. You can identify the a new product or a new service through the learning. Say that is called as a conceive. So an idea or product is conceived. The company creates the idea or product, then the company must reflect. Company must reflect. It is through this reflection of both processes and outcome that learning will occur. Organizational learning in action empowers you and your team to develop and implement successful learning. Then strategies strategies across your organization and drive business growth as a result. So that here, once an idea is conceived, that means once a creativity is developed in your mind, the creativity comes through learning only. That we observed in the first slide quotation given by the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. The creativity comes from the learning only. That means the idea conceived through the learning. Then that conceive or say creativity leads to think. That is, a thinking is nothing but an action. One idea is conceived in your mind, immediately we will go for the action. Then when you start the action, then the result will come out. That is, the thinking or action provides the knowledge. The reflection is nothing but knowledge. So that here, so idea conceived, when the idea is conceived or a creativity is come out through this learning, immediately we will go for the action. The action is say here, so to implement that idea, so implement that creativity in organizational activities. So this action gives the result, that is a acquiring of knowledge. It is nothing but so to provide the new service or new product. So that conceiving, action, reflection, it is a like a cycle. These three are the major or say main organizational actions in the organizational learning, right? So then coming to the another slide, it is stages of organizational learning. Stages of organizational learning. Here you see identify 4 important stages: local stage, control stage, open stage, deep learning stage. Deep learning stage. Then we concentrate on what is the local stage. Most of the organizations begin their lives in small, relatively unstructured and personal or informal, like an entrepreneurial startup. The local stage is refers that in the beginning or say in the initial stage, the organizations start their life in small size, relatively unstructured. At the beginning, the organization is formed in the way of unstructured, personal, informal, like an entrepreneurial startup. So the startup company is the best example to understand the local stage. Local stage. It means according to the local requirement, according to the requirement which can be identified around in our surrounding area, we have to start to produce something, to provide some services. That is a initial stage. So local stage is nothing but so the initial stage of formation of the organization. What I am saying is here, in the local stage, organizational learning is in a small quantity. It is relatively unstructured. There is no so structured way of learning. It is informal also, informal. We know very well about the grapevine gossips. So through the gossips, through the friendly discussions, through the local ideas, we have to start the organization. So that is a local stage of organizational learning, so that we can understand that local stage of organizational learning is nothing but to discuss and consider the local ideas, that is in the initial stage of the organization. So that is in the form of actions focus, expertise, and resilience. Action focus in the local stage. So our learning is focused on the action, what we are acquiring, what is the result of this acquired knowledge. And second is expertise. So expertise, how it is effectively using in the organization. And resilience is nothing but it is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness. That is called as a resilience. So resilience is here the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or say toughness. So once you cross this local stage, we will go to the control stage. So growth in terms of size and complexity is a major driver of formalization. To achieve economies of scale, expertise is organized into working groups and departments that often become classic silos of knowledge. To coordinate efficiently among work groups and other subunits, organizations generate standard operating procedures and other formal routines to make work uniform and predictable and facilitate communication. Controls are instituted to encourage uniformity, including accountability control and procedural control and training and program control, then planning processes and so forth. It means say here the second stage of control stage is it is a controlling stage. Controlling of what? So controlling the accounting process, controlling the procedural activities, controlling on training programs, controlling on the planning and organizational activities. That means say after crossing the local stage, our organizational learning is focused on various types of control measures. Various focuses on control measures. So this controlling is here component focus. So controlling on component focus, component wise focus. So each and every product or say each and every unit produced in how much quality, how much quantity, with how much quality and quantity. So there is some control, because if there is no control on production activity, your supply is more than the demand into the market. You know what will happen if the supply is more than the demand? So automatically nobody will come forward, because a number of products are available in the market, the prices will be declined, the demand will decline, so that there is some control on component wise. Then behavior compliance, so control on behavioral aspects of the people, right? Then control on anticipation of the future activities, So these are all the various control stages. So that once you cross the local stage, then we have to concentrate on the control stage. In this stage, the learning is focused on the action focus, then expertise and resilience. And in the second stage, the organizational learning focused on controlling of the various aspects, that is component focus, behavior compliance and anticipation. Then coming to the third stage, that is open stage. The large conservative bureaucratic organizations can be highly successful in stable environments. But in turbulent and unpredictable environments, they do not learn or change fast enough. Bureaucratic controls over behavior fail when routines cannot be written and rewritten for all activities, when learning is restricted to specialized groups such as research and development. The pressure from new competitors with new products, so rapidly changing technologies and customer preferences, deregulations, and so forth. So these are all the various aspects which can be identified in the open stage. You can simply understand that in the open stage, the organization learning should concentrate on new products, new technology, and new customers, and focus on the deregulations or say government policies. In the open stage, it is a multi-component focus. You have to concentrate on the different products, because in the open stage, organization is facing the competition from the others. So that when you have such type of the competition in the market, so you have to concentrate to produce your products in a different manner. It means in this competitive world, in every moment, we have to prove ourselves how we are better than the others. Unless that proving of yourself, you can't withstand in the competitive world. Because in the early stage, the competition was at gully level, but now it is a global competition. There is no geographical boundaries. So the goods and services coming from the one country to another country in a easy manner in the process of this liberalization, privatization, and globalization. That's why in every moment, the organization should focus on the new products. So the organization should focus on the rapidly changed technology. The organization should focus on the customer preferences. The organization should focus on the deregulations and the government policies and industrial policies, etc. So that is a open stage. The open stage is here. Organizational learning should focus on in a open manner. That is a multi-components focus. That means here you have to concentrate on the new products and new services, whatever the demanded by the customers, and you try to understand the emotions of your customers or say organizational stakeholders. So what are the emotions of your stakeholders, and what is the sharing of ideas among these organizational stakeholders? So that here organizational learning should focus in this open stage on multi-components, emotions, and sharing of the ideas. Then you coming to the last stage, that is the deep learning stage. So here the deep learning stage, it is a system focus, mental models, and integration. It means the final stage, as we envision it, would build upon the open stage by adding more capability. For that, it promotes understanding of deep systematic causes and creating a wider range of action possibilities to address all such cases. So organization, that is the stage, would be capable not only of mutual respect across internal and external boundaries, but also skillful inquiry and facility to gain insights, challenge assumptions, and create comprehensive models, and etc. So like that, here there are 4 important stages of learning, that is local stage, control stage, open stage, then deep learning stage. Deep learning stage is a last stage. That is, you have your organizational learning should focus on the system, focus on your entire organization, and it should be focused on the mental models of your organization. The organizational learning should focus on how to integrate your organizational activities with the other organizations. That means we have to think in a broader sense, that is how to integrate our activities with the foreign organizations, say foreign competitors, like that here. So there are 4 important stages of organizational learning in single word. So local stage is a initial stage. At this stage, the organizational learning should focus on the action, expertise, and resilience of the organization. In the second control stage, the organizational learning focus on component wise and behavior compliance of the individuals and anticipation of the future requirement. And on the third open stage, organizational learning should focus on the multi-components, emotions of the stakeholders, and sharing of the ideas among the stakeholders of the organization. And last, deep learning stage, here the learning is in a broader manner, in a deep manner. Here you have to learn about the system, you have to learn the mental models and new ideas which can be implemented in order to face the worldwide competition. And you have to learn how to integrate our business activities with the international business organization. Like this, here we can understand the 4 important stages of learning. We are now coming to the types of organizational learning. Broadly, we can identify 3 types of organizational learning. 3 types of organizational learning. One is single loop learning, double loop learning, and deutero learning. Deutero learning. These 3 are the important types of organizational learning: single loop, double loop, and deutero learning. You know the simple meaning of loop. Generally, loop is a structure or a series of activities or a process. Loop refers a structure or a series or a process. Single loop learning is a single structure learning. A single structure learning. Double loop learning is here double structured or a series of learning. Series of learning. And deutero learning, it is different from these first 2. Now we will see one by one. So before going to understand the types of organizational learning, so it is clear: single loop, double loop. Loop means here it is a structure or a series or a process. Here single loop learning refers, it occurs when errors are detected and corrected without modifying a firm's existing policies, goals, or assumptions. Single loop learning refers, it is a learning to find the errors or to detect the errors and correct the errors. Detect the errors and to correct the errors. This detection and correction of errors without changing or without modifying the firm's existing policies, goals, or assumptions. I think it is clear. Single loop learning is a process of detecting the errors and correcting the errors without modifying a firm's existing policies or goals or assumptions. Okay, so this is a learning. This is a learning which is aimed to detecting and rectifying the errors, detecting and correcting the errors. Single loop learning is a structure of learning or a process of learning. So detecting the errors and correcting the errors without modifying the firm's existing policies, goals, or assumptions. So without modifying, in this learning, we don't want to change the existing policies. We don't want to change the existing goals or objectives or assumptions of the firm. So without touching such organizational policies, goals, and assumptions and practices. So this learning is helpful to identify the errors and detecting the errors. I think it is clear. So single loop learning is a process of detecting the errors and correcting the errors without modifying the organizational policies, existing policies, goals, assumptions, and objectives, right? So it is about making adjustments to correct a mistake or a problem. This learning is so to making a adjustment without disturbing the objectives of the organization, right? It is an adjustment to correct the mistake or a problem. Whenever you find the problem, so we have to think how to resolve the problem. That is to find out the solution to the problem. For that, we will go for the learning, right? So in this learning, just without modifying the goals, objectives, just we have to identify the errors and so correcting the errors. Then coming to the double loop learning. If it is clearly understand, so it is easy to understand the double loop learning. So double loop learning, it is a educational concept and processes that involves teaching people to think more deeply about their own assumptions and beliefs. It was created by Chris Argyris, a American psychologist. Chris Argyris, a leading organizational trainer, he is also a leading organizational trainer in the mid 1980s. The double loop learning concept was created by Chris Argyris. What is this double loop learning in his perception? In his perception, double loop learning is a process, or double loop learning occurs when errors are detected and corrected, such that firms' existing policies, goals, and assumptions are called into questions and challenges. This is the difference. In the single loop learning, errors are detected and rectified without modifying the existing policies, procedures, goals, and assumptions of the organization. But here, detecting and rectifying the errors by questioning the existing policies of the organization, by questioning the existing procedures, by challenging the existing goals of the organization. This is a double loop learning. It means we are through this organizational learning under double loop process, we are finding fault with the system. We are questioning and challenging the existing policies, procedures, and goals. But in single loop learning system, we are not questioning, we are not challenging. Without modifying such objectives, assumptions, goals, we are rectifying and identifying and rectifying the error. That means it is adjusting with the system. In the single loop learning, we can understand, we can adjust with the system. But in the double loop learning, by identifying the errors and rectifying such errors, we are questioning the system. That is the difference between single loop learning and double loop learning. Then the third is here, deuterial learning. It is also called as triple loop learning. It is also called as triple because a single, double, now it is a triple loop learning. It is also called as a transformational learning. deteriorative learning is also called as a transformational learning. Why it is called as a transformational learning? Because this learning is composed of structural and behavioral components. Two aspects here. Deteriorative learning is composed of structural and behavioral components which determine how learning take place. So here you can understand simply in the deteriorative learning is composed of structural learning and behavioral learning. It means it is focused on the structure of the organization. Whether the structure of organization is correct or not, whether it is appropriate or not. Generally, the structure of organization is influenced by the size of the organization. When you start the organization in a small size, the structure is different. It may be a vertical structure. By passing the years, when your size of organization is grown in a large scale, so this vertical structure may not applicable or appropriate to run the organization in a comfortable manner. So that there is a need to change your structure into horizontal or diagonal structure or matrix structure. There are different types of organizational structure. So that in the deteriorative learning is composed of structural learning. It is a structural component, focused on structural component, as well as it is also focused on behavioral aspects, behavioral component. That is the behavior of the people who are working in the organization as well as the behavior of the organization. That means individual behavior as well as organizational behavior. So simply you can understand deteriorative learning is a process of learning about the structure of the organization as well as the behavior of the organization. These two are determine how learning takes place. So you can say this deteriorative learning is emphasized on learning how to learn. Deteriorative learning is emphasized on learning how to learn. So like that here we can understand the deteriorative learning. So this deteriorative learning concept is developed by a Anglo-American anthropologist is Gregory Bateson. Gregory Bateson is a Anglo-American anthropologist. He coined this deteriorative learning word in the year 1942. So that there are three types of organizational learning. Simply single loop learning, that is without modifying the existing organizational policies or objectives or goals. So just identify the errors and rectify the errors. Then in double loop learning, just by identifying the errors and rectifying the errors, you have to question the existing policies. You have to challenge the existing goals of the organization, right? But when you coming to the deteriorative learning, it is a process of learning or a composition of learning of structure of the organization and behavior of the organization. Like that here we can understand the different types of organizational learning. Okay, then coming to the next slide, it is organizational learning cycle. Here, before going to discuss this organizational learning cycle, there is a need to recollect a quotation given by Leonardo da Vinci. What is that quotation? That is, learning never exhausts the mind. Is it clear? Is it true? Learning never exhausts the mind. You go on to learn, your mind will absorb. Always it is empty to learn something. If you go on to learn, always your mind have some space to absorb some other new things. So that it is a good quotation, learning never exhausts the mind. That's why learning is a continuous process. Because when your mind is always have a space to absorb the new things, so we go on to learn. So learning is a continuous process. Learning is a cycle, right? So that here, organizational learning cycle, first thing is widespread generation of information. Widespread generation of information. Whatever the information generated through this learning, you have to spread out in the organization, right? About a particular product or about a particular service, whatever the information generated in your mind, it should be so spread out. Then immediately, so integrate new or local information into the organizational context. So you have to integrate. So your whatever knowledge you acquired through this learning, you have to integrate with the organizational context. That is how your acquired knowledge is applicable to the organization. So regarding a new product, so new ideas are generated, then that how these new ideas are applicable to your organization, whether our organization is able to consider your new ideas, whether organization is able to produce a new product, whatever is created in your mind, whether our organization is able to provide the new service, whatever you created in your mind. That is integration with the organizational context, or say new information into organizational context. Once you have to integrate it, then it will be collectively interpreting information. You have to interpret it in a collective manner. Once it is collectively interpreted, then the authority to take responsible action based on interpreted meaning. So like this, it is a cycle. So about one product, so it will continue like this, 1, 2, 3, 4 stages. Then once you completed one aspect, then again new idea will come out in the mind, then again it will continue this cycle, then again the new idea will come out. So like that, here organization is a cycle. Organization is a cycle. So we can learn continuously. We can learn from our 5 senses. Regarding in this cycle, you can recollect about the your 5 senses. We can learn from our 5 senses, that is touch, sight, sound, smell, and taste. Through all these 5 senses of organs, we can acquire this new information, integrate with the organizational activity, and interpret, collectively interpreting this information, and the authority is responsible to action. That means to start that production, or say to start that provide that service. Once one activity is completed, again second activity will start. So like this, it will go on in a cyclical manner. Then communities of organizational learning. So what are the communities, or say what are the group of people who are involving to learn the organizational activities? Say here communities of organizational learning, where we find 4 communities: individual, group, organizational, inter-organizational. So there are 4 communities of organizational learning: individual, group, organizational, and inter-organizational. Here the organization can gain knowledge through its communities. First is individual learning. The smallest learning community is the individual learning, that includes only a single member. In this community, the individual employee learns new skills and technical know-how, and this boosts his level of efficiency and productivity and ultimately the overall performance. The organization encourages the employee to share his new skills with another workforce so that it can prove beneficial for organization. Sharing knowledge is also important because if the worker leaves the job for any reason without sharing the experience, then it is a total loss of the firm. So like that here, the individual learning refers, so learning by individuals. Then second is group learning. It is simply here a group of people involved in this learning, a team of the people involved in this learning. Then entire organization involved in this organizational learning, entire organization. Then intra-organizational learning, that is depends upon the situation and need and necessity of learning of a new things, learning of a new knowledge, right? So like that, individual learners, group learners, organizational learners, and intra-organizational learners are so 4 types of communities of organizational learning. Then coming to the methods of organizational learning, right? So these are all the simple aspects. Just I will read out and we will go to the another slide. So individual learning, continuous learning, learning through empowerment, embedded systems learning, learning from the leadership, and dialogue and inquiry learning, then team learning. So you can easily understand just by identifying the each and every method, right? It is an individual learning, each and every individual. Continuous learning, learning should continue throughout the organizational life. Learning through empowerment. So empowerment, whenever you have the type of the empowerment, there is a need to learn. Embedded systems learning, that is adaptive systems of learning. Then learning from the leadership, it is a good source and a good method also, because a leader is a good source of learning to his subordinates. If leader is an intellectual, then subordinates become intellectuals. So leader is the most influencing personality so of the organization. So when the leader is effective and a role model, then subordinates will follow his good steps. Then dialogue and inquiry learning, it is inquiry means to understand about the organizational activities, and team learning. Right, now we have to focus more here. This is the elements of organizational learning, elements of organizational learning. Broadly here I identified 4 important elements of organizational learning: supportive leaders, culture of continuous improvement, defined learning structure, intuitive knowledge process, intuitive knowledge process. Here, the first one is supportive leaders. The important element of organizational learning is supportive leaders. So there is some support to encourage the organizational learning, because organizational learning is a continuous process. So that should be supported by the leaders. It is encouraged by the leaders. So here leaders are committed to organizational learning. Leaders should have a clear vision and goals for organizational learning. And leader should be a champion and role model to all the subordinates who are working under his supervision, under his purview. So supportive leaders includes the leaders are committed to organizational learning. First, basically leader should be committed, because his subordinates follow the leader. If a leader is very intelligent, so he influenced the subordinates. If a leader is a lazy fellow, he is not at all updating himself, then followers also same manner. So like that, he should committed to learning continuously. And leaders should have a clear vision after 5 years, after 10 years. So what is the position of our organization? Where we have to go after a 10 years period? What are the organization goals and objectives which we have to attain in the coming future? Like that, the leader should have a clear vision. And he should be a champion and role model. Leader should be a role model. If a teacher is a good person, a effective teacher, he should be considered as a role model by the students. That's why, so leader should be a role model. And second element is culture of continuous improvements. Actually, organizational learning should create a culture. Organizational learning should create a new culture in the organization. If it is fail to create a new culture in the organization, there is no benefit of the organizational learning. So that culture values, organizational learning to inculcate the values in the organization and create a new culture, the organizational learning, and aligned beliefs and values. The organizational learning align the beliefs and values of the organization. Reinforce and incentives, reinforcing incentives. Commitment to measurement of results, commitment to and measurement of results. Say here, in the organizational learning, the second element is should create a culture. That means say it is aligned beliefs and values. It means here you have to recognize, so both the horse and donkey should not be treated the same. Always the horse is horse and donkey is donkey. You should not treat in the same manner. So that is here you have to create some values and culture in the organization. And the another element of organizational learning is the organizational structure is aligned to support organizational learning. Generally, organizational structure to support the organizational learning. That's why you have to design and structure the organization according to the attainment of your organizational goals. Your organizational structure, whether it is a vertical structure or a horizontal structure or say matrix structure, whatever may be, it should support to the organizational learning. And defined roles and responsibilities for capturing and distilling. Distilling, say here, purifying, applying and sharing knowledge, network and coordination. Then coming to the intuitive knowledge process. So intuitive is nothing but having ability to know or understand things without any proof or evidence. That is called as a intuitive. Intuitive knowledge is having ability to know or understand things without any proof or evidence. So organizational learning process are embedded into daily workflows, that is a day-to-day work charts. Defined process to set learning agenda and capture, distill and apply and share knowledge. And technological platforms. So these are all the various factors which can be considered under intuitive knowledge process. So like that here, there are four types of four elements of organizational learning. Then another one is here organizational learning theory. Organizational learning theory. So it is very, very important to understand about the organizational learning theory. Here actually organizational learning theory developed by Chris Argyes and Sween. Chris Argyes and Sween. So both are developed this organizational theory. So Chris Argyes is, I already told that he is an American business theorist, and he also a professor emeritus at Harvard University School, Harvard Business School. Sween is an American philosopher and is a learning theorist. Both of them developed the organizational learning theory, which can be easily understood by this chart. Here, espoused theory. Espoused theory is nothing but adoption of theory, adoption or applicability of the theory. Espoused theory is nothing but adoption of the theory or applicability of the theory. How this theory is applicable, developed by the Sween and Chris Argyris. Here see, official instruction for how to solve a problem. When an organization find a problem, then it continue to take action, and find the solution, right? So organizational theory says that when you have a problem, when you faced a trouble, then we have to take the action. That is a continuation action. So we will find the solution in a easy manner. But this process is not common in all situations. So this is a finding of the solution by taking the action in a easy manner is not always possible. There may be some hard problems. That is a here theory in use, how problems are actually solved. When we find a problem, then we will take one action. This action may fail or to create a new problem instead of finding the solution. I think it is clear. Here, the official instructions for how to solve the problem. When you find the problem, the learning theory helps to take one action, then action, and we will take the solution. But here, when we find the problem, whatever the action you applied, so that may fail, that may failure, or that may create the again another problem, new problem. That means when you find the solution to a problem, so it will cause it for the another problem. In this situation here, so new data, information, and ideas. So we will go for the new data or information or a new idea. Here we will approach the troubleshoot, discuss the consult, theorize. So we will approach the troubleshooter, and we have to discuss the different types of the consultants, right? So here it is the consultants will give the some idea. Then by learning new ideas, information, and ideas, by new data, information, and new ideas will come out. So this one and this one helpful to take one new solution that will be here. It is in a test experiment. It is only experiment model, trial and error basis. Then in this experiment action, so we have to go for the workaround, that is to find the solution. With that, so we will find the new action and we will get the solution. So here organizational theory explains that sometimes a problem will find the solution by taking one or two actions in a series manner. But sometimes to find out the solution to a problem, whenever you take one action, that action may fail or create a new problem. In that situation, we will go for the new data or new information and new ideas, and we will approach the troubleshooter or say consultant. Then based on these two, so we will take one another action. That action will be implemented in a experimental manner, that is trial and error basis. Then trial and error basis action is to adopt to our work, and that will find or say helpful to find the solution. Like this, here we can understand the organizational learning theory, right? Then creating organization that learn and grow. Creating organization that learn and grow. Say here, organization is gone to grown in one stage to another stage, right? So that organizational learning is a key driver of business growth. Organizational learning is a key driver of business growth. For that here, so through learning, we have a creativity. This creativity will come out in the organization by conducting the semi-annual trainings and peer feedback on processes, right? Then here, So based on this, we have to maintain the quality, that is redocumenting process. Quality will find out by redocumenting process. Then through this, here we have to maintain the accountability, so that the organizational learning and how creating organization that learn and grow is, it is a process, that is process of definition and tacit knowledge creation, explicit and process sustained. So like that, here creativity, maintain the quality, and accountability and responsibility helpful to continue the learning in a organization, that is creating organization that learn and grow, right? Then building a learning organization, So here every organization has to build itself as a building a learning organization. That means, say here, sharing and exchanging of their ideas or intellectual capacity through different types of activities, that is, say here, training programs, symposia, say conferences, seminars. These are all the different programs which are considered as a platforms to share the knowledge from one individual to another individual, or one group to another group in the organization, right? It is essential in every organizational learning. Then relationship between organizational learning, so practice and learning organization. So this chart is helpful to explain relationship between organizational learning practices and learning organization. That is the relationship between learning practices and learning organization. Here these first box is notions of learning, or say intentions of the learning, that is, so experiential learning, action learning, informational learning, and communities of practices. Then here, in case organizational learning practices, this box, and this side, right side box indicating the learning organization. Organizational learning practices here, so by individual level, that is a continuous learning, dialogue and inquiry. By team level, that is in the learning organization, team or group level, team learning and collaboration. Here the learning organization levels are embedded system connections, empowerment, provide leadership for learning, right? Here this indicating the feedback of single loop learning feedback, double loop learning feedback, which I already explained in a clear manner. So this is the chart which is helpful to understand inputs, process and output. So this chart is helpful to understand the relationship between organizational learning practices and learning organization. The time is very short, that's why I'm going in a speed manner. So I will share all these slides, all of you can understand in a easy manner. Then coming to the importance of organizational learning. The organizational learning importance can be identified into different types. One is increased employee job satisfaction. Second is lower turnover rates. Third is increased productivity, profits and efficiency. Developing leaders at all levels. Enhanced adaptability, so throughout the organization. So these are the various aspects which indicating the importance of organizational learning. So if organizational learning is continuing in every organization, so the job satisfaction will increase. The employees' job satisfaction is increased, because job satisfaction is very, very important. Unless the employees satisfied themselves, they cannot perform in an effective manner. Being a teacher, if we have a satisfaction in teaching profession, then only we will come out with a full of knowledge to provide or say to render the service to the students community. Like that, it job satisfaction will enhanced or increased. Through learning, so labor turnover will decline. So there is a possibility to minimize the labor turnover rates. Generally in every organization, so 10 to 15% of the labor turnover is acceptable due to retirement, due to accidents, due to replacement. So labor turnover may occur, but more than 10 to 15% of labor turnover, indicating the danger levels of the organizational activities. That's why organizational learning is helpful to minimize the labor turnover. Then the organizational learning helpful to increase the productivity, profits, and efficiency. These three are interrelated, interdependent, and inter-influenced elements. So through learning, effective manufacturing activity is going on. If you increase the productivity, profits will increase. So productivity and profits are increased, then organizational efficiency will increase, right? So productivity declined, profits will decline, then automatically the efficiency will decline. That's why organizational learning continuously encouraged to increase the productivity, profits, and efficiency. And coming to the developing leaders at all levels. Generally, in every organization, we can find the leaders at three levels: the top level, line, then middle level, then lower level, executive level. So that here the organizational learning is helpful to develop the top level leaders, middle level leaders, and executive level leaders. Then only organization will run in a successful manner with the proper coordination of all three levels of the leaders. Then coming to the last one is enhanced adaptability throughout the organization. So here enhanced adaptability. So we have to adopt the new ideas, new technological changes, and new environment in the organization. Unless to adopt the day-to-day changes according to your requirement, you can't run the organization in a successful manner. That's why organizational learning is helpful to enhance the adaptability capacity of the organization in the throughout life, right? Then benefits of organizational learning. So just I will read out the benefits. You can understand very simply. Organizational learning benefits are to build organizational capacity for collaboration and success. Your organizational learning is helpful to enhance the organizational capacity by collaboration and success. It means, say here we are in the global competition. So if more number of organizations are involving to producing similar type of the products, so there will be a perfect competition. So if you want to avoid such type of the perfect competition and enjoy the monopolistic benefits, we will go for the mergers and acquisitions. So if the similar type of business organizations are merged among them, so they will formed as a new business organization, then they can enjoy the monopolistic benefit. So that organizational learning is helpful to build the organizational capacity for collaboration and success. Then identify gaps between the organization and its stakeholders. This learning is helpful to identify the gaps between the organization and the stakeholders. Different stakeholders are involving in organization. They may be the investors or shareholders or borrowers or creditors or employees or government. These are all the different types of stakeholders. So what they want and what is the organization is providing. So what is the gap and how can we recoup this gap or say to fulfill this gap, that will possible only through the organizational learning. Then develop mutually beneficial partnership and alliances. So here organizational learning is helpful for the mutual beneficial and partnership alliances. So create actionable plans aligned to organizational goals. So our organizational learning helpful to create the new plans, actionable plans. The plan should align with the organizational goals, right? Facilitate strategic planning, then transform the organizational culture, implement smart strategic financing and revenue generation strategies, right? Use data to drive organizational work and expand its impact. Like this here, we can find the different types of benefits of the organizational learning, right? I hope my presentation is some extent it is helpful to improve your knowledge regarding the organizational learning. Let's we wind up with a great quotation given by the Brian Herbert. The capacity to learn is a gift. The capacity to learn is a gift. All of us, we may not learn in a similar manner or at equal levels or a similar levels. Some people learn more and more. Some people learn very less. Some people, they don't want to learn. They don't want to learn. So that learning is a capacity given by a gift by the God. So the capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The ability to learn is a skill. Here, learning is a skill. Just if you want to, if you see a book reading, there are some people to read the book vertically. There are some people who read the book in a horizontal. That means vertically, just by seeing the entire page within no time, they can identify the basic theme of that page. That is it is a ability to learn a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. The willingness to learn is a choice. So it is a very good quotation given by Brian Herbert. We have to salute him. So I will wind up this my presentation with the last statement that the beautiful thing about learning is nobody can take it away from you. It is a beautiful thing about the learning is nobody can take it away from you. Whatever you learned, it is with you only, With that learned knowledge, wherever you go, whenever you go, you will be identified as a great intellectual. For that, I hope that all of you continue to learn and acquire the new knowledge and deliver the updated knowledge to our students community. So this is a great opportunity given by the organizers. So to share my ideas with all of you. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It is a very informative session, sir. Sir has focused on various topics of organizational learning. Learning is defined as any relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of practice and experience. This is the definition given by Richard E. Meyer. Important elements of learning. Learning is a change in behavior. It is better or worse. Organizational learning is defined by Duguid as the bridge between working and innovating. And there are various steps to promote organizational learning. There are 3 steps: knowledge creation, knowledge retention, and knowledge transfer. The main actions of organizational learning are conceive, act, reflect. Stages of organizational learning. There are 4 stages: local stage, control stage, open stage, and deep learning stage. There are 3 types of organizational learning: single loop learning, double loop learning, Deutero learning. Organizational learning cycle. Communities of organizational learning. There are 4 communities: individual learning, group learning, organizational learning, and inter-organizational learning. There are 4 elements of organizational learning. Sir is also explained about organizational learning theory, creating organizations that learn and grow. Sir has also said organizational learning is a key driver of any organization growth, creativity, quality, and accountability. Sir, thank you so much for enriching our knowledge, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Thank you very much,
sir.
sir. Excellent, sir.
Good evening, Jankar
Good evening,
Prashad.
sir.
So I thanks all of you.
sir.
You have given
Thank
a
you,
great
sir.
opportunity.
No, it is an opportunity to us. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Tomorrow's session will start at 10 a.m. Already the case studies information is sent in WhatsApp group. So please prepare, attend, and enjoy day 2 session. Start joining tomorrow from 9:50 a.m. The session will start at sharp 10 a.m. Thank you all the participants. Thanks for your cooperation.